Welcome to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. Are you ready to discover some niche business ideas that actually work? Well, it's time for a motivational kick to jumpstart your next big idea. Here's your host, Spencer Haas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Niche Pursuits Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer Haas from nichepursuits.com. And I've got both Jake and Perrin with me today on the podcast. Perrin, how you doing?
Pretty good. Best of luck in your business.
Yeah, of course. Jake, how you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Just counting them down to Christmas.
Yes. We've got, about a week, I suppose.
Something like that. Yeah, as of yesterday, you had no idea when Christmas was. So,
No. I know it's on the 25th, but I forgot what day of the week it was.
It happens.
We're all just counting on our hands over here, on our fingers.
That's why I keep you guys around. Let me know when holidays are. So, today we want to announce who the winners of the video applicants were, who the winner was, and then announce who the other two students were for the Niche Site Project 3. We actually announced that on the blog. So if people have read the blog, of course, they know who the three students will be. But on the podcast, I figured let's go ahead and announce who the three students will be for Niche Site Project 3. And of course, we will be the coaches for that. So it's actually been a really interesting process. So of course, we got the video applications in and we picked the top 12 videos and let the Niche Pursuits community vote on who their favorite student was. And tons of great videos. I mean, I know we talked about this already in the last podcast, but just some really top-notch videos that came in that we were really impressed with. And the voting was quite interesting, to say the least. We got nearly 7,000 votes cast. Is that about how many votes you guys were guessing we would get?
No, I mean, it was crazy. I can't remember how much we got last time, but it really surprised me. How many votes we got? Yeah.
No, insane.
Yeah, I had no clue how many to expect. So
yeah, well, I can tell you, I didn't know what to expect, but I was not expecting anywhere near 7,000.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple thousand was my guess. So without sort of any further ado, the winner, the person that received the most votes was Samara. So Samara will be the student picked by the Niche Pursuits community. She received something like 26 or 27% of all of the votes. And she was the one student, and I'll explain why this is important, but she was the one person that just sort of consistently was receiving votes every single day, just steadily grew with the number of votes. So very clearly, she was number one from the beginning. I think with less than 20 votes in, she was already number one, and she basically held that position the whole way through.
Yeah.
There was some possible unnatural voting going on. There was a couple of applicants out there that would suddenly receive large surges in votes. Within an hour, all of a sudden they'd get 300 votes. Some weird things going on. But luckily that really didn't matter at the end of the day. Samara was clearly the community favorite from day one. And she is somebody that is from either New Jersey or New York. Oh boy, I'm going to be in trouble.
I think it's New York.
It wasn't New York.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
From New York, but she's living in Madrid, Spain, right now. So we'll find out more why she's in Madrid. I really don't know. And what she's doing over there. She has a young daughter, that she showed a picture of in her video. And her story is interesting because she's gone through a lot of failures, basically. Like many people, she's tried to build a niche site. She's even tried to launch an Amazon FBA product, and she's even gotten into Shopify on her own e-commerce site, and all of them have basically made no money whatsoever. I think out of all three of those channels, she made one sale, I think on Amazon or something like that. And so she's failed on a lot of projects. She doesn't know why, and she's looking forward to the coaching quite a bit. So I'm excited to start coaching her. And I guess I should explain that I personally will be the one coaching the one that the community voted on. So Samara will be my student.
Yeah, and she's got a great fashion sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Her baby does too.
Yeah, maybe you can explain that, Perrin?
Yeah, if you haven't watched the video, or if you are only a podcast listener, one of the things Samara did in her video, and is that how we say her name is Samara. We've been arguing over that for like a week now. I don't know.
Samara, I tried to listen to the video over a couple of times, and that's what I
Samara.
got. Yes.
But one of the cool things she did was she made custom Niche Pursuits t-shirts for her and a custom Niche Pursuits onesie for her baby. So
that's awesome.
Very impressed with her wardrobe choices.
Yeah, good creativity, wardrobe choices. Yeah, she had a framed picture of her baby wearing a onesie that said something like "Future Niche Site Builder."
Yeah,
which very cool. So we're going to be starting the coaching process. I'm going to do my first coaching call with Samara on Monday, which is just a few days from now, and so we'll be sharing that probably here on the podcast, but certainly on the Niche Pursuits blog, those coaching calls that you guys can all listen in and figure out, what sort of strategies we're going to employ. So that's what I'm doing, but both Jake and Perrin have their own students that they're going to be coaching as well. So I'm going to let them jump in and tell about the student that they picked and just their really brief plans for what they're going to do. Jake, let's let you jump in first. Who's your student and what's your strategy there?
Sure, yeah. As far as our strategy, we saw the Niche Pursuits t-shirts that Samara made. We were thinking that that's really going to be a hot item for Christmas. So we're planning on starting a t-shirt line. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but I really think it's going to be a hit.
We'll give you a buy link in the show notes.
There you go. You guys can have an affiliate link from Samara's video. That's fair.
Now watch. We're going to get people that are going to really want these shirts and be like, "Where's the shirts?"
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, business idea right there.
That's right.
But no, I went with a guy whose video was really impressive. As I said, if you read the blog, I talked to a few people that I had marked as finalists, and really there were literally about 20 people on my list that I thought I could choose and would do a good job with this. So it's a very difficult decision. But ultimately, I picked Ryan Spadafora, who was the guy in the print shop. If you watch the videos, and had a really clever video. He was one of our final 12 there, but had a great application. And just for me coming into this, I was, like many of you, a couple of years ago before working for Spencer, I was working a job which, whatever, it was, sort of a standard job, and it was fine, but I wanted to make some extra income for our family, and I was reading blogs like Niche Pursuits and other things, trying to do that in my free time around having a wife, and we were starting to have kids and all these things, and so it was tough. And I saw a lot of that in Ryan, and I think a lot of folks that follow the blog are in that same situation. You're looking for a side hustle, I guess, something you can do around a very full life and start to make some extra income for your family or whatever your situation is. And that was Ryan to a T, and I really related with his story. And he's got some skills and seems like a really driven guy, as many of you were. And so ultimately, I went ahead and chose Ryan there, and really looking forward to working with him. He's out in Denver, Colorado. He's got a beautiful beard, which I think is a great asset when you get into something like this. Very lush beard.
Yeah.
Easy there.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm starting. We'll start our coaching calls very soon, and looking forward to getting to know Ryan a little bit better. And we have some common interests, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And one of my favorite parts about this project that we're doing with the three of us coaching is that hopefully you'll see different styles and some different routines. And although we all have similar approaches, I guess, and how we think about sites with long tail keywords and that sort of thing, there are definitely different ways that the three of us go about building sites on our own. And I think some of that's going to show through, which will be one of the cool parts of this.
Absolutely. I agree. So we'll talk about strategies a little bit more, but Perrin, why don't you let us know who you picked and your immediate plans there?
Sure, yeah. So I kind of first want to give a shout out to my honorable mentions. I had 4 people who I really enjoyed their applications, whether it's because they had some impressive skills or their application itself was really good or because they had really cool stories. So Pascal Marcellin, Colleen Fairbrother, Craig Gunderson, I think his name is, and Christina Rosu. All those people I've been in touch with, and they're going to get some free consulting from me. I've actually already chatted with Christina, and then Colleen and Craig and I are going to go get coffee because they're both in Chicago, and then I'm going to talk to Pascal too. So shout out to those people. They were my honorable mentions, and I'm really excited to talk to them.
That's
the
awesome.
person I picked,
Cool.
It should be super fun. The person I picked was Colleen Kinsey. Colleen Kinsey's video is also really impressive. In fact, she would have made the voting list probably because her video is so fun. She's like dog sledding in it and riding on camels, and her cat's in there and stuff. But I was pretty sure that I was going to pick her when I saw her videos, so I convinced you guys to take it off the list. She's a really talented person. She does really well in her career. She's an IT consultant, but she's coming from a very similar background. She's in a consulting job, which is what I was doing before I started doing SEO. She wants to do something else. She wants a major lifestyle change. She's strongly motivated to travel and be in control of her own time and that sort of thing. She's also an exceptional writer and an exceptional communicator, which I think is one of the most important skills for SEO. She can sit down and create content for her own site, and she's also very comfortable reaching out to people. Plus, when we chatted, it was we just hit it off as friends, really, and I was super impressed with her. She's someone I feel like I want to be working with, and I can have fun building sites with. And she's just really, really sharp. She's a natural problem solver, which I think is really important. She's someone who hustles, which I think is really important. And one of the points I made in the blog post where we made our announcement was that she has tons and tons of hobbies, and I think that can be really useful for site building also, because someone who has tons of hobbies doesn't have any trouble finding the interesting meat in different types of stuff. So, you know, even if you have never swum a day in your life, a person who has lots of hobbies can go to a pool and try to discover what's interesting about swimming if they want to start a swimming website. And Colleen is that type of person. So we've already chatted. We have our coaching call scheduled. I know she's already looking at markets because she's the type of person who wants to get ahead. So and she's competitive. So we've been talking about how we're going to kick you guys' butts pretty good. So all in all, I'm really excited. I think she's a really cool person. I think it's going to go really well, and it should be fun.
Man, I think we're unleashing the beast with Perrin here. All of a sudden, he's got this competitive edge to him.
I know. I don't like this side of you, Perrin.
Perrin, this is the ugly side of you.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Already coming out.
I guess so.
The gloves are off. No, this should be a fun project. It's all in good fun, of course.
Yeah.
Just fun competition, if you will. I hope that all of us end up with sites that do quite well. All the students build sites that, you know, exceed the $500 per month goal. I think would be awesome. And so going forward, and the three of us were talking about this before we hit record on the podcast, as far as expectations and timeline of this project. At least initially, early on, we're going to try and publish at least weekly coaching calls. And so we're going to document that, whether that's just an audio recording or a video recording that we post on the blog that people can watch as we walk through certain steps. We're going to do our best for probably, I would imagine, 6 to 8 weeks, at least be doing weekly calls that we can publish. After that, I'm sure the amount of, the consistent will still be consistent, but won't be as frequent. Probably closer to monthly after that. And how long that goes, I really don't know. Right? I mean, we'll try to follow up for at least the first 6 months, probably the first year, at least giving updates. Here's how the site's going. And, so we'll see. It's going to be a really fun project, at least early on. We're going to have tons of information, going to be doing our coaching calls, and hopefully it can be something that everybody learned from here.
And that's really a pretty insane amount of content.
Yes.
If we are all three doing weekly videos, that's for, the first couple months. That's like 50 or 60 videos or something.
That's a good point.
So get psyched, guys. I mean, that's so much to consume, and we think you deserve it. And hopefully the case study will be better for it. So super excited.
And something that I should probably mention is we were trying to decide, well, how do we go about this process for coaching? Is it something that all 6 of us jump on a call and try to follow some format that way? We decided that's a little too confusing probably. So it is going to be one-on-one coaching calls with, one student, one coach. But on top of that, I am not going to tell Jake and Perrin how to coach their students. I decided, you know what? let's let them do it how they want. And so Jake and Perrin are going to go out. I don't know their exact strategy for what they're going to cover in week 1 or week 2. There's no, you don't have to cover keyword research in week 1 or week 2, or you don't have to cover how to set up WordPress, etc. It's completely hands-free here. Jake and Perrin are smart guys, and so they're going to go out and coach how they want to coach, and I may be coaching slightly different. And so I think that was important to mention here on the podcast to all of you listening that, yeah, this is really just however Jake and Perrin want to coach and how I want to coach, we're going to do that. So you're going to get 3 different angles for how to build a niche site, which I think is going to make for a very interesting project.
Yep.
So there is one other little announcement that I think we should make here on the podcast that already early on, we're getting some great traction. People are really excited. I'm happy to announce that we have launched a Niche Site Project 3 Facebook group. And so there is now a dedicated Facebook group for this project where you can go on and ask your questions. You can join the other people that are in the community. I mean, we just turned this on yesterday, and it is a private Facebook group, so you have to request access, but essentially we're giving everybody access. But we do that so that not just people that aren't readers aren't going to be joining. But the first day, I don't know, what is there, like 220 people or something?
291 members right now.
Oh, wow. Sheesh. So, it's less than 24 hours old and already 300 people have joined there. So I'm sure we're going to get at least a few hundred more joining on. So hundreds of people following along with this project. Most of them, they're probably going to be actively out building their own niche sites and are going to be coming across problems and issues that they have. And so they're going to be asking those questions within the community. And so that's where you can go. If you get stuck on building out your niche site, you can ask this Facebook group. You can ask this community, hey, where do I go from here? And so hopefully it's going to be a great place, lots of interaction, and people can learn from each other there.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest goal for this community. Of course, we are going to jump in and answer questions when we can. We are pretty busy people, so we're not going to be spending extensive amounts of time on there, but we will be answering some questions. But the idea is to provide a community for people who are following along with this case study to ask questions and help each other, and to ask us if there are any major sticking points, and also to give people a platform to interact with the actual students too. So overall, it should be a really cool place for Niche Pursuits readers to get together and work on this stuff together.
And I think already early on, at least somebody has posted about local meetups. People are excited. Hey, can we meet up if you live in this city or that city? And so I think there's going to be some connections made. People can actually meet in person, which I think is very cool, to be able to sit down with somebody that actually understands SEO and building out niche sites and is following along with this project. I love seeing those connections made. And so the Facebook group, should be great. Before we close out the podcast, I mean, that's basically all we wanted to do here is just announce who the 3 students were, some of our immediate plans for the project. But Jake, anything else you want to jump in as far as just Niche Site Project 3 or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm excited about it. I'm nervous about it, just to be honest, as we all know, there's no guarantees in any of this stuff that you do online. I mean, we've got systems and things that we do that tend to work, but there's no promises. And so, it's going to be interesting. So, it's the first time I've done anything like this publicly. I mean, I've had successes privately, but so from that side of things, it should be interesting. And I'm not a big planner either. It's just that's against my nature to make a call agenda and do this coaching thing. So I've been running through some of that in my head, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. I'm kind of a shoot from the hip kind of guy. That's just my nature. So I'm going to try to get a little bit better at that for Ryan's sake. But it's going to be a fun little experiment, and I'm pretty pumped up about it. See how it turns out.
Absolutely. Any closing thoughts for you, Perrin, on the project?
I personally guarantee. No, I'm joking. No, it'll be fun. I think Colleen and I are both stoked to get started, and More than anything, I'm excited to see what kind of different strategies the three of us will come up with. I might even try some new stuff just that we've been meaning to try, so that we can kind of use this opportunity to test techniques and test other methods, which I think could be really cool. But yeah, overall, we're just excited, and I think I'm really kind of chomping at the bit to do the first coaching call and get Colleen on her way.
Absolutely. That pretty much sums it up. We are very excited for Niche Site Project 3. It's something that we've never done before, as far as 3 websites are going to be publicly revealed. 3 slightly different strategies are going to be shared here. And so I'm excited for the content that we're going to be putting out. I think this project is going to be great for putting out blog posts and videos and probably diving into some of the nitty-gritty details that, as experienced website builders, perhaps we gloss over a little bit and just think, well, this is just how you set up WordPress and do it. But we're going to get some questions that go, oh yeah, there is a reason I set up this plugin and configure it this exact way or whatever. I don't even know. So
yeah.
it will be interesting to hear the questions we get from our students and the reaction that we see from the community as well. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Jake literally is hopping on his first coaching call in like 15 minutes, I think.
It's true.
So we're getting started immediately. I mean, this is we're going to be doing our coaching calls. So the next podcast that you hear will either be an actual coaching call or we'll share some of the results from our coaching calls on the next podcast. So just want to say thanks to everybody for listening in. Please follow along over at nichepursuits.com. Thanks a lot, guys.